Okay, Healy.
Here.
Krajewski.
Here.
Oh. Larson.
Here.
Noonan.
Here.
Ozak.
Here.
Tornatori.
Here.
And Plum.
Do you have any public comment? Not. Chairman's remarks. None. We do have an anniversary, Bill Bauer. Woo! 20 years of distinguished service to the county. And I will let Nick go over all of it. He's working with these day to day. Congrats.
So you got to, I think, make sure that we can see you here on the.
Yeah, come on over in the middle.
So, Bill, I don't know, every project we do here at the county, Bill is involved in some form or fashion. So what Bill does, he has overseen our electrical division for both public works and facilities management. But not only those, you know, stormwater, everything with electrical, he's in charge of. From high voltage, everything. Him and his team are involved in every aspect of our projects. He has done a tremendous job. I mean, we're very, very lucky. I mean, that was the one thing when Ken came here from Kane County, us having our own electrical division is not that common, and it has provided benefits. It's saved us money on everything. We can respond to emergencies, outages. I mean, he's been a tremendous part of the team, and we're very lucky to have him, very lucky to have his entire team and his knowledge. So thank you very much.
Thank you. You want to say anything? No, you said it all for
I don't know.
To save his energy.
Or Tim, I know you work with Bill a lot. Do you guys want to say anything?
I'll just add, I'll tell you, Bill, for me, over the last 20 years, we lose power or any issues at the plants, we're really, really lucky to have them. When we don't have power at a water or wastewater plant, things break bad quick. So it's nice to have somebody like him on staff for sure.
At the northeast corner of the care center, there's a box up right off the street. That was replaced 3 years ago. That is the main feed for the entire campus. That's a big job. He's got as big as that and smaller. So nothing's too big. They tackle everything fearlessly and
Thank you. Okay. I have a motion to approve the minutes of Public Works regular meeting of Tuesday, July 27th. Motion is second. Any discussion? Additions, corrections, or changes? Roll call because you don't have. In the room. Roll call. Here.
Healy.
Aye.
Aye.
Larson.
Aye.
Noonan.
Aye.
Ozak.
Aye.
Motion carries. Can I have a motion to approve budget transfers? So moved. Second. We have a motion and a second on the budget transfers. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Oh, roll call.
Larson.
Aye.
Noonan.
Aye. Aye.
Ozak.
Aye.
Tornatori.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Krajewski.
Aye.
Thank you. I'd like to combine items 8 and 9. 8 is a consent item, contract extension through September 30th for alarm monitoring and the claims report for public works and facilities. I'd like to combine the through. Do I have a motion? Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion on combining and approving both those items? Roll call.
Larson.
Aye.
Noonan.
Aye.
Ozak.
Aye.
Tornatori.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Krajewski.
Aye.
We have a motion on item number 10A, which is an agreement between the County of DuPage and Robinson Engineering for Encore Engineering Services.
Second, Noonan.
A motion is second. Do we have any discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, all of the roll call.
Tornatori.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Krajewski.
Aye.
Larson. Noonan.
Aye.
Ozak.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries. Can I have a motion to combine and approve item number 8A, 8B, and 8C? 8A being PWP 20720 recommendation for contract to Core and Main LP for the purchase of water and sewer distribution repair materials. B being FMP 20820, recommendation approval of contract to Fox Valley Fire and Safety Equipment for preventive maintenance testing repairs. And item number 11C, which is recommendation for the approval of a contract to UNA Mechanical DBA YMI Group to provide time and material HVAC work.
So. Second.
Second, Noonan.
Motion is second. Any discussion?
Why am I voting on this?
What?
Never mind. I said, why am I voting on this?
Oh,
Why am I voting? Never mind.
why is there error? All those in favor, roll
No.
call.
Tornatore.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Krajewski.
Aye.
Aye.
Noonan.
Aye.
Bozak.
Aye.
Motion carries. Motion to combine and approve 12A, B, and C. 12A being FMR 44020, recommendation for approval of agreement between the County of DuPage and the DuPage County Bar Association for lease of space in the judicial office facility. PWP 20920, recommendation for approval of a contract to Integral Construction for a new above-ground storage station at the Woodridge Green Valley Treatment Facility. PWR 42620, resolution which is an agreement with Page River Salt Creek Work Group for Public Works and Stormwater Division, desires to continue participation in this agency.
Second.
Motion is second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Larson.
Aye.
Noonan.
Aye.
Bozak.
Aye.
Tornatore.
Aye.
Healy.
Aye.
Krajewski.
Aye.
And we have a motion carries. We have item number 13, which is informational, which is recommendation or approval of a contract. How can it be informational with recommendation of approval? Of a contract?
$0.
Oh, to Com2 Recycling to provide semi-annual scheduled pickup for the recycling of electronic devices. I have a motion to approve is informational.
So moved. Second.
The motion is second. How do you do?
It's informational, it's just the information item.
All those in favor say aye.
Well, before we do that, I just, how is it, I mean, even though it's at no cost, it's still a contract,
Yeah.
we have obligations that comes out of this information.
This is an informational item on the agenda.
Right.
It should be listed as an action item on the agenda, please take action.
But the only thing that's good, I, as a department head, or 5,000, but I didn't want to do that, and I wanted to let
He's
the
asking
board
for the
members know
consent,
what
if he's
happened.
asking for the consensus of the committee, that's fine, and then Nick can just do it on his own. But the committee isn't approving the contract.
Okay. Can I have the consensus of the committee that we are in favor of this informational item? All those in favor? All those, whatever.
Terminating consent.
Yes.
Whatever we're supposed to do.
We have our consent.
Okay, we can now start the discussion of the public works budget. Who's gonna take that?
Stan is gonna.
Stan's gonna take it.
Okay. Amen. Good morning.
Sorry, at the table. Tim, where are you at?
I'll sit over there.
Do you need one?
Okay, I am going to go through the materials that were sent out on Friday for Public Works along with Sean. And then Tim is going to go through the facilities management schedules. We are going to reference the packets that were sent out on Friday and as well that were just cast out right now. However, to make it, for those joining via Zoom, to make it easier to see, we also had schedules and put them into the PowerPoint. So we're going to start with Public Works first. Just copied a couple of schedules that we had from the, when we presented the master plan, just the departmental basics. Public Works is an enterprise fund, so it's not part of the general fund. Facilities management is part of the corporate or general fund. Basically, we're a municipal utility. What's on the screen right now is our water system, 6 water systems, 5 are Lake Michigan, 1 is on well water. This screen here shows the sanitary sewer and wastewater system. Okay, so 5 collection systems, 3 wastewater facilities. Here, the screen shows everything combined. We're going to start with revenue. So budgeted revenues, we will increase approximately 1% from 2020 budget due to the rate increases effective January 1st for the previously approved ordinance. However, we're budgeting conservatively on usage. The first part of 2020 was very wet. We had a substantial decrease in usage versus 2020 levels and even below 2019. So we kind of had record rain in the first part of the year. It's picked up because it's been a warm summer, but being conservative, we're netting out to 1% revenue increase.
Move the chair down.
So moving to expenditures, this is also on page 1 of the handout. We break our department down into 3 different components: the sewer area, the water, and then the shared services, if you will, the admin and shared services area. So expenditure-wise, on we do have a what I'll call a conservative budget, a holding line on expenses. On the sewer side, we are budgeting expenditure decrease of 0.5% versus 2020 budget. Water, there is a slight increase, and in the admin area, we are pretty substantial decrease of 4.3%. If we focus on the O&M row near the bottom, O&M expenses, excluding depreciation expense, are decreasing 1.1% overall. Hitting some of the highlights, personnel expenses are decreasing due to deferring filling of open budgeted positions as long as possible. Commodities are decreasing slightly due to the lower diesel fuel prices and lower water treatment expenses. Contractual expenses, they are increasing slightly. That's due to engineering professional service fees for water tower inspections and soils testing, higher dairy and pass-through reimbursements, and conservative assumptions for purchases from the DuPage Water Commission. Just at a high level, I'll make a comment. The last few years, there's been a lot of planning, a lot of projects being approved. We're really moving into the heavy execution phase. So that explains some of the increased engineering expenses. That also explains, if you look at capital expenditures at the bottom of this chart, which are increasing substantially. I'll have Sean talk about those in a minute, some of the larger projects that will be really hitting hard in 2021. Any questions at this point? Okay. This is also on page 1 of the handout. This is the expenditure versus revenue summary. On the face of it, it looks like there's a deficit where total expenditures, I remind you that includes capital expenditures, are higher than the revenue, but that is planned. We will make up the gap with a loan from the IEPA. We're estimating that will be about $6.6 million in 2021. That's also been approved by the board to take out this loan earlier this year. And we are on the intended funding list with the IEPA. The balance of the gap will be made up by reserves. Again, that was planned. As part of our 20-year master plan, we did project out revenues and expenditures over a 20-year period, and we're anticipating peaks and valleys in terms of capital spending. And so you can see at the bottom of the debt principal, we are paying down some existing loans, and then however, that's offset with new loans. Debt principal will increase in 2021. A slide that's in our audit report and that we also like to reference, how are we doing financially, what are our financial parameters, are our debt coverage ratios. That's on page 2 of the handout. And as you can see, our is in very good shape coming out of 2019, going to 2020, and in good shape moving forward, planning on meeting or exceeding all the debt coverage requirements. Move on to capital improvement budget, and maybe I'll have Sean give some of the highlights there.
So as Stan mentioned, the capital expenditures quite a big jump from 2020 to 2021. Main reason for that is a couple of the bigger projects we're doing is our meters. We're looking at replacing our meters in our water system. We hope to capture some of the unaccounted for water. So hopefully our revenue will creep up a little bit in the water. Our metering systems are about 30 to 40 years old, so there's quite a bit of unaccounted for water in a lot of our systems. Nordic wastewater treatment plant is another big one. That plant's over 40 years old. It's currently out on the street for bid. It's about a $10 million project. That's a complete rebuild of our Nordic wastewater treatment plant. And then the electrical infrastructure at Woodridge and Knollwood, that's about a $10.5 million project that we're under engineering and design right now. So that's the main reason for the major increase to the capital.
What's on the screen right now is the sewer operations capital. So you see the 2 big projects there, Nordic and the power plant. Those 2 alone account for $7.6 million. The water system, there are some water main improvement projects as well as water tower improvements. And then we'll close on capital on the admin side. Sean mentioned the water meters and also some work planned for Marionbrook Garage. So that nets out to 10.9 million of capital. So that covers public works. If there's no questions, I'll turn it over to Tim.
So the one thing I did want to add about public works that timing, I mean, and we're kind of lucky where we're at because of us planning these big projects as we did several years ago, and timing wise, we're seeing the market is very positive for these going to bid. So we're hopeful to get some pretty good pricing when these projects go out to bid. So we've been, we're exactly where we anticipated originally when we did our 20-year plan.
We see all the county board members who are online. Can you squeeze it over?
Here.
We can't see you. We can't see all the county board members.
Who we looking for?
Yep.
Yeah, Noonan's here.
Radusky there?
Ozog here.
Right. Do any of you have any comments on the public works portion of the budget?
None from Noonan.
Okay.
I'm good, thank you.
Juski's fine.
Good job, guys. And again, we're so far, fingers crossed, we're doing well in this department and staying along. So, Tim, take it away.
Good morning. I want to start with FY 2020 for you. In FY 2020, the department requested $1.95 million in capital. We received $150,000. We deferred a vehicle replacement in Brown for 2 years. That was a $90,000 savings. We've been maintaining 2 vacant positions in the facility side. We've been maintaining 2 vacant positions in the ground side, and we eliminated headcount by 1 in 2020 with a rework that saved just under $60,000. So we've been trying to save money in 20, understanding what's happening in 2021. If you go to the second page, it kind of gives you a 6-year summary of facilities budgets. Just 2 quick things I want to point out to you. Between FY19 and FY20, we picked up a $253,000 expense. We are paying for the election warehouse space that used to be done by a separate unit of government. So when you see the bump from 19 to 20, that's the majority of it. The other one is in 2021, the wage increase, a majority of that is actually due to the 399 contract. There were wage increases there. And then as a reminder for the general fund departments, we were only given 1% of a 2% rate increase. So we had to cover the additional 1% that was not included in the 2020 budget but I had to include it in 2021 because it's rate occurred. The other observation is just utilities are up a little bit. It's amazing when you look at our total operating budget. As utilities go up, we go up, and as utilities go down, we go down. But we've been fairly consistent on the expense side. The next page is, I've been doing this a long time and I've never done this exercise before, but 87% of our expenses are contracts. I've identified every contract, what we actually spend in 18, what we actually spend in 19. For 2021, I budgeted the median. I split them, there's no rate increases. I've identified what we think we can cut, how much we can cut it, and what we cannot cut. Starting with utilities, in 2008 in Kane County, we did attempt to adjust building temperature to about 3 degrees. It was a catastrophic failure. It is very difficult to make building temperatures in the winter. When we try and operate 3 degrees outside of ideal ranges, we crash. I'm suggesting that we cannot cut natural gas. We can't cut electricity. It's very difficult to do them in optimum ranges. Obviously, water we can't cut either. So from a utility perspective, we're suggesting that there's no cuts that can be done. The next group of contracts are contracts that, again, we feel we can't cut, are chiller maintenance, filters, fire alarm monitoring, elevators, refuse collection, paper products. From there, you go down to contracts that I'm suggesting we might be able to cut 10%. Contracts we may be able to cut 20%. And then the very last set of contracts are contracts where under the 30% budget cut request, I get the maximum amount. Facilities management, the first leadership company function, for example. That's not a mandatory function. But I don't want to spend a lot of time on this unless you'd like me to, but this one you can kind of look over later. But from a operational percent of it with 87%, I've tried to maximize the cuts that I feel we can do. I'm more than happy to adjust any of these numbers if anybody feels that this one can be cut more or that one can be cut more. So that's kind of a summary. I mean, this is 87% of our expenses are here on this sheet. The very last line is 13% of what's left. And then I did the 10, 20, 30% cuts there. So I tried to maximize the cuts where we could. If we look at the budget cut scenarios, some of those would spill over to personnel. I'd rather, if you want to talk about that, I don't want to talk about it. Meeting like this, we don't have the ability to close session talk about that. But whatever budget cut scenarios there are, we would try and meet those. The highlighted increases under FY 2021, I just wanted to point out the 3 utilities that really jumped. And then if you look at the other one under the budgets that can't be cut to 392, as I mentioned earlier, there's the large jump because we didn't start the Aurora election warehouse lease until 2020. So that's why there's that big jump from 19 and 20 to 2021, 18 to 19. I mean. So it seemed like, to me, the easiest way to present a budget to you that says, here's exactly what we do, as exposed as we can be, what we can cut, and what would be very, very difficult to cut. So from there, whatever the budget guidelines come into, we'll meet them. That's what we have to do for staff. So
the one that jumps out at me, I understand a lot of these other expenditures, but you're talking about a nearly 50% increase in the cost from ComEd. Is that to pay their legal fees? Is that to pay the $200 million?
ComEd is a small number. We buy our electricity from MP2. So when you look at it from MP2 is where we're buying electricity, ComEd is distribution. So ComEd, and Bob Lilligren is in here, but ComEd it's their invoices divided into 6 different pieces. And between Nick and Sean and I might be able to get them because I can't get them all. But there's the distribution they have, there's the distribution they have to get it to the campus, There is some equipment that is on the campus that's theirs.
That's all the same as it was last year.
Absolutely. You are correct.
So they're billing a 50% increase in the distribution cost to us at a time that they've just been caught with their hands in the cookie jar, basically robbing the people of Illinois.
Sometimes, just so you know, with utilities, it comes to cycling of bills too. That could, when one year it can be up, the next year down, depending on the cycling of the bills when we get them too. So keep that in mind.
You can get an extra bill in a year.
All right, but fiscal year 18 was 404 actual, fiscal year 19 was 428 actual, and you're budgeting $670,000 for this year. So even if you look at the last 2 years, that's an enormous increase.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, and what we've done, what Tim has done, and that's because you've heard him how big of a portion of the budget utilities are. He contacts every utility, Wheaton Sand, City of Wheaton, ComEd, NICOR, everybody to figure out what proposed rate increases are, and then those are incorporated in the budget. So we're not talking about it. So everything you see in there is from, especially the natural gas and electricity, that's straight from Bob Mueller. But we can dig further into that one to see why those increases are large. So
I wonder if the city of Chicago and certain people in the state of Illinois are paying the same increase. That's what I'm asking.
So the one thing I just wanted to expand on what Tim said, I think he did a good job of going through it. Overall, the facilities management budget being a general fund budget, we were very well aware of not increasing anything, knowing the pressures out there, you know, far different than public works, general fund. But there is $800,000 in the 2021 budget for capital. In 2020, it was cut to zero. We cannot do zero again for capital, so that's a must-have. My recommendation on this one, I mean, obviously the budget as presented, the base budget is acceptable budget. As far as 10, 20, and 30% lockdowns, I would allow some latitude to the staff for surgical precision in there about where it can be, and then obviously coming back, we'll inform the committee about this, our recommendation. But for the first, go around for what's going to be presented, allow some latitude for the staff to figure out. My guess is would mostly be 10% maybe the contract, some personnel, and 20 and 30 would be all personnel mostly. In capital. So, and then if we actually get in the scenario for the budget, then we're going to discussion.
Don't know what I'd rather not commit to those expenses and have the money available to gosh, how much more revenue to anticipate and a COVID vaccine economy or whatever may happen.
Absolutely. And if the committee and the board members can realize that, we are getting zero for capital this year, although obviously we are working on a lot of capital with the COVID dollars, but it's not taking out our pent up demand for escalators, elevators, things like that. 800,000 is the absolute rock bottom that we can get by with, and in 2021. If there's anything out of the ordinary, I mean, we are at 800,000. We are absolutely pushing off capital needs, and everybody needs to realize that. And if there's money available in 2021, I mean, we're basically 3 million down in capital over 2 years, and people should realize that. Remember that. We can make it work. If there's some catastrophic failure, we'll be coming back for a special appropriation at that point. But we will do everything we can to make 800,000 work for 2021.
Thank you.
Since I've been chairman of Public Works, we've had, this is our third bust and boom cycle. I started with a bust and we were getting almost nothing for facilities. Then we got into a good year, where we had some revenues and we were able to catch up. And thanks to the committee, we were able to do some really smart things with the funding. Then we had another bust and we couldn't do anything for a couple of years, and then we were able to catch up on it again. We were just about getting caught up. our normal year for facilities, we normally need, what, 3 million, 4 million a year?
Three would be long-term steady.
Right.
What we've been doing is 1.8 with pent-up demand.
So our normal need is 3 million a year. Last year we did 0. This year we're doing 800,000. So look at it as $400,000 a year for 2 years. I just want to let you guys know, because I won't be here, when this cycle changes again and we're back to a good cycle where funds are coming in again, you need to get facilities money so that they can catch up on things. And again, we always start with the roofs, go to the walls, go to the interior and everything else. So you're going to see those boom and bust cycles of public works, because the easiest thing for the county board, and it's always done it, is when there is a problem on the budget, the first thing they do is turn to capital projects and facilities gets whacked. So remember that when in 2 years, when you have the cycle starting to change and we're back to having some additional revenues coming in, that we're able to take care of our facilities and in this campus. So I just want to make sure you all remember that.
You know, not that we're doing anything in 2021 or even maybe even 2022, but everybody needs to realize our biggest project we have hanging over us right now are 2 parking garages that need a lot of work to be maintained. And what's the latest price tag on those?
About 11, it's on the last sheet I'll get to you.
Okay, 11 million. So that's something that the committee, the board members should keep in mind. At some point, that's a bill that's going to be coming due that we've got to find money.
I appreciate the leadership you both have shown, and I know Jimmy Hay, I do that, but you've been a tremendous leader on this committee for as long as I've been on the board in dealing with the budget constraints that we have. I think obviously your tremendous work has been acknowledged over and over again, and should be.
Do we have any comments from the people on video?
I do have one more sheet
Oh.
I gotta go through. You have the actual expenses on here for facilities and for grounds. I've kind of covered most of it. I do want to point out to you that what I did for 21 is I budgeted $192,000 in overtime. That is 23% lower than we've ever done. So I've hit overtime pretty hard too. The last one I just, capital's in here. We asked for 1.8, we will make $800,000 work. I do need to point out that finance has gotten us capital from time to time in the last 2 years, and we really do appreciate that. The last one I just want to point out to you is the very last page of your packet. As was pointed out, we do have pent-up demand. We have pent-up demand in the amount of about $33 million. We presented this committee about 3 times in the past. We're kind of hoping that with finance, that in 2 or 3 years from now, the board will do a large capital program for some other capital pent-up demand facilities. One piece, you have others that are not like, but we do have pent-up demand that, as Nick pointed out, a third of that almost exactly is the tax. Finance gives us one piece of technical investigation this year, about $40 million. So we just want to keep that in front of everybody. Recognize that for the next 18 months, this is just at some point as the board is about as we find out this emergency. 2013 or 2010. So you haven't had a large capital program in 15 years, kind of like your house. Eventually the roofs come due and some other things like that, a furnace, et cetera, and that's what we have pent up. So.
Any comments from any of the members on Zoom? Barry?
Nothing from Noonan.
Thank you.
Mary, you have any comments?
I'm good, thank you.
Mr. Juski still on?
You ready with it?
You already got it. Do we have anything else on these issues? Okay, we have the old business. New business. Now, more, we are adjourned.